Late in the evening on January 4th of 2021, the Gateway Pundit dropped an absolute banger of a headline. Breaking: Wisconsin legislature announces resolution to be introduced on Thursday, which will likely decertify the state and award to President Trump. This is written by Joe Hoft, and many people immediately took to this headline and ran with it. If Wisconsin flips, it is, of course, a game changer. Any single state flipping is in many ways the breach in the dam that will allow other states to flip. That has long been sort of a theory I've had, that the Republicans have been trying to get just one state to either decertify or flip their election in some way, because it will give other states permission to do so, states that may want to but have politicians that are hesitant on pulling that trigger. So the question about this is this headline accurate? Maybe it's accurate. It's not a foregone conclusion that this will occur, and the author of this article is reading a lot into it, and he is making some inferences about what will happen. So what actually did happen? Well, in Wisconsin, Assembly Resolution 3, 2021 Assembly Resolution 3 was actually passed by the Wisconsin State Assembly, which is their version of the House of Representatives, and a Republican-controlled House of Representatives at that. It was passed, it was introduced on January 4th, 2021, and it was passed. So it actually did go ahead and pass through the House. This will, of course, then go to the Senate to introduce as legislation to do whatever they plan to do. But is what they plan to do decertifying the state? That's not actually in this assembly bill. Now, I'm going to attach the Gateway Pundit article. I'm going to attach this Wisconsin Assembly resolution in the description. You can see the links in the description and go ahead and click on them, read them at your leisure, figure out what you believe is in there. But what is in here is some serious accusations about the failure to follow law by various aspects or various levels of the Wisconsin government in regards to the 2020 election. This isn't necessarily about fraud or anything like that. This is, as many of these accusations have been about and have been muddied by the media, of course, it's about the state's failure to follow their own laws, or about particular state officials' failures to follow their own laws, and particularly in heavily controlled Democrat areas, failure to follow their own laws. These laws, which are safeguards against things like fraud and preserve the integrity of elections. That's why legislatures pass these laws, to determine how the election will be run and to protect against things like fraud or malfeasance in some way. So when it comes out that these laws weren't followed, the logical conclusion that flows from that is, well, maybe something untoward happened in this election. And many people believe that about many different states, and Wisconsin is high on the list. So we have a Republican legislature in Wisconsin passing an assembly bill that states a bunch of the laws that were not followed. Again, they're right here. But it comes to the end, and this is where the confusion comes in and where the inference comes in on the Gateway Pundit article. And to be fair to the Gateway Pundit article, they included the beginning of the bill, the whereas section where they lay out some reasoning for why this assembly resolution exists, and then they included the resolution language down at the bottom. And the middle language isn't really operative towards what's going on. It's almost like a laundry list of facts that they're basing this resolution on. But let's read the resolutions that are there, and then let's talk about what the Gateway Pundit read into them. So, resolved by the Assembly that the Wisconsin State Assembly recognizes that the most important function of a government is to conduct fair and honest elections that follow the duly enacted law, and be it further resolved that when there are significant portions of the population that question the integrity of the elections due to the failure of election officials to follow the letter of the law, it is incumbent upon the legislature to address the issues that are in question, and be it further resolved that the members of the Wisconsin State Assembly place the redress to these and other election law violations and failed administrative procedures as its highest priority, and shall take up legislation crafted to ensure civil officers follow the laws as written. And it's that last line that Gateway Pundit focuses on. In fact, they have it bolded down in their discussion right here. Shall take up legislation crafted to ensure civil officers follow the laws as written. Now, what they did was extrapolate that into legislation being introduced on Thursday, which will decertify the state. This is an oddly specific inference to take out of that line, which to me reads as they plan to address this for future elections, not necessarily present ones. But there is a question over whether or not they can decertify their own election and whether or not they would. The question of if they can does seem to be answered by yes. A state legislature is in control of the certified election results. So in theory, a state legislature can decertify the election results. But will they? Will they do that? I don't see any indication in that language in the resolution that suggests that they will. So I'm not sure where Joe Hoft of the Gateway Pundit is getting that inference, but it's there. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below whether you think Wisconsin should or will decertify their votes. At this point, is it a foregone conclusion, or should states, and specifically Republicans in various states, keep fighting? And here's another question that I would love to see some answers on. If they keep fighting, should they keep fighting even if they think they can't win? And my answer to that question is yes. Always fight, even if you think you can't win, because the fight is part of the process. And fighting over an election in an adversarial system is supposed to give us that election integrity and assurances that we're missing. And that has been the problem with courts punting on these cases left and right. But leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff, and I will see you very soon. Peace. Peace.